Hello everybody, Corey from Gemini Guitar, and we're back for some blackened death metal, whatever, tremolo picking. So I've got another lesson posted on the Patreon, which is a bit more in depth than this, and it's a dark melodic tremolo picking etude. So if you like this, you'll definitely get into that, and there's some other black metal lessons there as well to check out. So see the link pinned at the top of the comments. Okay, so someone gave me this pick to try. It's a Hetfield White Fang. It's actually a bit lighter. I think it's a I usually use the 1.14 Black Fang. And this one's got a pointier tip, although it's a little bit worn at the moment because I've been using it a bit. It's also got a good grip on it. So if you're one of those that kind of struggles with gripping the pick, although I do find the Ultex and the Black Fang are pretty good like that. But Tortex, for example, used to give me a lot of grief, and I gave up on them. So the Ultex works really well, but this one here I find really good, and it actually makes this a little bit easier to do. So I know in the other video I mentioned, I did say that the pick was a bit worn out. It didn't matter too much, but I am finding with the pointier tip that it definitely does help a bit. Not essential, I can still do it without, but it definitely makes it a bit easier, and it just seems to cut through a bit better. So essentially what I was doing was just picking out a position, and the progression is essentially just a low E into a B flat. So I'm just going to emphasize some chromatic notes and things around that sort of area. So what I do is I start off with the E octave, including the low E, with its flatted fifth in the middle. And then I was just randomly using some notes with my middle and third finger. So you could use the raised seventh at the 8th fret, which comes from the harmonic minor. And then you've got the fifth, of course, flatted fifth. You got the minor second, and you can even use the major second there too. It's not really that important to play from an exact scale or anything, because the notes are kind of changing around quite a bit, so you're not going to notice it as much. So just to give you a demo of that, let's have a look at it at a slower tempo. So as you can see there, I just did some random things and it came out sounding okay. Kind of weirdly enough, I find it's actually easier to play quicker once you get the technique than it is to play slower. I think that's because you get a bit of a flow on, and it's a lot more fluid, whereas at the slower tempo, it sort of feels more clunky to me. So I do try to speed up as much as you can, and also make sure that you push yourself a bit. Do the proper practice at the slower tempo with a metronome, and then at the end of the session, it's what I call kamikaze, so you just go nuts and try to play as quickly as you can. And in doing that, you're going to give yourself the feeling of what it's like to play faster. And even if it's a little bit sloppy, you can come back to your precise practice and then do your chaotic practice. And if you break it up into that, you've got that kind of breakthrough thing where you're just sort of stirring things up and then coming back to the precision, stirring it up. And each time you come back, you're probably going to find that initial precise controlled practice is going to be easier to do than it was before. So just something to throw out there and do if you would like to try it. Now, of course, the other chord in the progression is the B flat, which I played down here because it's a bit brighter. And I'm just using the root note B flat, and we're going to use the flatted fifth again. And then we can chuck in some of those other notes around it. Yeah, and this sounds kind of cool like that, you know. You could try some notes on the higher strings as well, but the last three, 6, 5, 4, are pretty good for this if you're starting out. So let's have a listen to like a random sequence. I'll just improvise it with some of these notes we've been using, and then you can check it out and go back and have a look and then practice it yourself. You don't have to do the exact same thing. It's just a general idea. And then, you know, you can make up your own progressions and use different scales and things with it if you would like. So here we go. So that wraps things up. Hope you've enjoyed the lesson. Check out the Patreon, and there's also the download store as well, by the way, if you'd like to support me through that. And have fun with it. I'll see you at the next lesson. So until then, bye for now.